fun, and I was like, man, this is a crazy, wild ride that it took me on. So the boys have all secured their own. So we have Jethpa Creed, which is this is their weeded 6 year. I did write a wonderful review inside a golf cask, and we did get noticed. So as you can see, my bottle actually reproduced like a rabbit, and 3 more bottles showed up in the mail. Cheers to Jethpa Creed. We will give you a fair rundown of all the different whiskeys. So I'm gonna try to get Bo and Eddie in the same spot coming up here shortly, and we're gonna go ahead and taste these out completely. But sorry, my daughter's calling on the FaceTime.
On the backbone.
Bye-bye. No, mom can deal with that. So, before we get really jumping into this, Eddie, how's your week going?
It's going good. It's been a busy week. It's been a productive week when it comes to real estate. I had some buyers that came under contract, so I'm happy. I'm hoping to get an offer on a house tomorrow. So yes, I'm not complaining.
Nice.
Yes.
And I really enjoyed your conversation with the Charlottesville coffee guy. That was actually
Yes.
probably my favorite of all your conversations. If you don't know, Eddie has a channel where he talks people inside of Charlottesville. And then again, gives you a little bit of idea of different neighborhoods and stuff. So make
Yeah.
sure you check that out. But that was actually a really enjoyable conversation.
Yeah. Tuan, he's the owner of a coffee shop in town, and just a phenomenal guy. I love his history, how he ended up here, how he became successful, and what he's doing now. And he has an MBA from Darden, which is a very prestigious business school at UVA. Just I've known it for years. Just a hardworking, incredible guy. Yeah.
Yeah. So make sure you go to YouTube, find Eddie K, Four Corners Real Estate, and there's a bunch of videos in there as well.
Charlottesville living.
Charlottesville Living, that's right. Hey,
Yes.
Bo
Yes.
Hammond, what have you been up to?
Work, man. Work is
Work.
work, man. It's budget season for us, so it's busy and that's irritating. But it makes whiskey taste a lot better at the end of the day, right?
That's right.
And then we got hay season coming at the farm, so we're gonna be busy up there too. But that's all right. It's nice breaks to have this little foray of brown libation enjoyment. How you like that?
That's good. You've been playing with the thesaurus again, haven't you?
I did. It's word of the day toilet paper from Reader's Digest.
That's right.
That.
I've been reading while I've been studying. No, that's cool. So, like I said, we're gonna do Jethpa Creed. We're gonna kind of go through like we did before. We're gonna go nose, try to figure out the top 3 words we'd associate with the nose, the taste, the finish, and then we'll score that, and then I will put that inside a golf cast, the form. So people in the future, if they run across Jethpa Creed, 6-year weeded bourbon, that they can look it up and they'll have our review. So without further ado, let's drink some whiskey, gentlemen. Who wants to knock it on the nose?
Yes.
This one's fun.
so I have to say I tasted this earlier today, and I kind of looked at the glass. I was like, was there something in this glass? Because there's a funk to this.
There is.
And
I'll tell you what they told me it was too. So we'll see.
Okay, all right. No, that's great, because I did look up the nosing, the notes and all of that, and I was like, I'm not getting what they're writing about.
Yeah.
To me, and I hate to say this, it smells like a week old hand towel that has this funk, like it's time to wash it now.
It's definitely musty. It's kind of
yes, it's musty.
That's 100% the word, musty.
Yeah. I think of it as going into that old person's house. You're like old relative, and they live at home, and they don't ever leave the house. And you walk in, and there's this aroma that kind of saturates it. I would say, to me, this is a very musty nose. I can pull out some other notes, but that must is like
it's overpowering.
It is.
That's
I agree with Eddie. Yeah, I agree with Eddie though. I look because we've all tasted this before, so we're doing this tasting kind of post having had the first round, so it'll be fun to see the difference. But some of the noses, there's some of the notes that are out there online, not necessarily from Jethpa Creed, but things like cream candies and those things. I'm going, yeah, I'm not finding that. This is one of those you read and you're like, nah, not sure where your nose is, but that sounds good to think about it.
Yeah,
no, that's why I don't. That's why I don't read that shit anymore.
It's talking about butter and like toasted almonds.
Yeah,
and on croissants.
You could get me with like a buttered popcorny kind of thing, because that musky, like I could see that. Like if somebody said butter popcorn, like okay, I'll give you a chance. But to me, I think musty overall. I think there is some butteriness to it, but like I said, it's waving in the background. So we're definitely gonna go musty. Can we come up with one or two more words, or is it just musty cubed?
I get a little bit. I get this both on. I remember the taste. I'm reserving retasting it yet, but I remember a distinct note of like spices, not like spiciness, but of some spices. And I do get a little of that on the nose if I keep working it hard enough. I get a little bit of spice in there. Not overly pungent, not anything I can pin, not a cinnamon. You know, maybe it's just a clovey, I don't know, something like that. It's not spicy and it's not hot smelling to me, but I get a little bit of spice, baking spice or something.
Baking spice instead of pepper.
Yeah.
Yes, I don't get the pepper, so I get the baking type spice.
Okay.
So what they said that the kind of the musky nose is the fact that they use the heirloom butcher red corn. So that that and their distillant gives it that kind of that note because of the actual corn that they use. And
but did they intentionally kind of go for that?
Well, yeah, they use that because they grow that corn on so it's their own property, their own fields, and they kind of
what is that corn? I mean, aside from putting it into a bourbon or whiskey, why red corn? Well, I don't even know that I know much about.
I just again, I think it's just kind of more of one, kind of the native. When I've actually had one other red corn, Jimmy Red out of Charleston, South Carolina. They use the butcher's red, but they don't get I didn't get the musty smell from them per se. Mm-hmm. So it's definitely something in their yeast combination with, but again, and this is the funny thing about this whiskey. When I had the nose the other night, I was like, oh, this is going to be awful. Like, And
I don't get that. I don't get that either, though. And I know I remember you saying it. I don't get quite as disgusting. It's definitely musty. Maybe it's got something to do with the wheat. I mean, it's a wheated bourbon. I mean, maybe it has something to do with that because that's a little earthier in general. Sometimes.
Well, it's also malted wheat, so it's not even wheat. So they actually sprouted the wheat. So again, that could be creating a little bit of that funkiness too, because you typically don't. See
so I think with the malt, you do get a funkiness to it. Yeah.
So let's have a taste now that we've
do it.
We'll go and we can definitely come up with 3 words from the taste.
Now, see, that's where, and I remember this now from the first, I do get butteriness in that. I really do. A creamy butteriness to it for sure.
Definitely get some spice.
Yeah, there's some spice.
Yeah.
It's warm.
Again, to me, it's warm, but I don't feel the warmth as like a spicy spice. Again, I get more of the baking spice type thing, but then the warmth from just the hug it gives you.
For a 93 proof, you get a good little hug on this one.
Mm-hmm. You do, yeah.
What are you pulling out of it, Eddie?
So to me, as soon as it hit my tongue, I get a sweetness. It's like an overpowering sweetness, like creme brulee, caramel, very pleasant. And then on the mid palate, I get the funk again. And then on the end, I get the baking spice.
Yeah, I agree.
Yes, or pepper. Yeah. they mentioned cinnamon and they mentioned tobacco, and I've been trying to find the tobacco, and maybe maybe that's part of the funk.
It could
But
be. I would even say
yeah,
leather. I think I get more leather than tobacco, and I think that's part of that funky, musty. But I agree. I think you get really sweet right out the gate. Then you get this
hmm
little bump of kind of the nose, and then it does go into a nice peppery, spicy back,
hmm
which is kind of weird for a wheated whiskey. Typically, you would expect that more from a rye or, a
yeah.
higher rye count, but this has no rye in it. So you are picking out some of those baking spices. So it's kind of
Yeah.
interesting on that avenue. Nice. Buttery.
But it definitely gives you a warm hug at the end. It lingers. Yeah.
It does
Yep.
linger. I think, and I
This
think that's good.
this will be a good weeded bourbon to have if you have a slight cold,
There
because
you
you
go.
get that warm, that hug. Yeah. So
I think it's kind of fun too because you can really play some tricks on some people with this when they think of weeded bourbon and you give them this, they'll be like, "Wait a minute,
yeah,
that is not what I
yeah.
expected."
Yeah.
So, what do you guys get with the finish? Definitely get warm.
It linger. I agree with Eddie. I think it lingers. I still get the finish. I get a dryness too for me. I mean, I get not a dry mouth. It's just a kind of like a, I don't even know how to describe it. I enjoy the dryness. I like it. It's an oaky dryness for me, I guess is what I would say. Almost like a oaky wine or something. If you have with a steak and you have like a robust oaky wine, I kind of have that type of throat flavor for me.
Would you consider the finish long, medium, or short?
I would say long.
I agree.
Yeah, I was gonna say medium. It stays around, but it dissipates for me. But definitely not short.
Yeah, definitely not short. And then, so we definitely got warmth. We get spice. You definitely get some spice in that finish. Some dryness. Anything else that you would classify the finish with?
Mm. Well, the funk is definitely gone at the finish.
I agree.
So it leaves you with a pleasant. Oh, this was funky and weird, but I like this. I want to go back so I can get the finish again.
No,
So,
I called
yeah,
this a crescendo when I
yeah,
described this tasting. It was the crescendo. It started off rocky, a little bumpy. The
yeah,
taste was good, a little quirky in the middle, but I thought overall the taste was good. And the cool thing is there was definitely layering. Like there was like a lot of whiskeys, the taste is like one piece. Like you could definitely
yes,
get that sense of layering. So I was like, the taste is cool. And then, like I said, the finish to me is one of the better finishes of the whiskeys that I've had. It's long enough, it's spicy, it's warm. There's a little bit of sweetness that dance around, and it just kind of hangs out for a while. So I think so. To me, the crescendo was perfect because it started off bumpy, and the best part was the finish, and it just kind
yeah,
of ramped up as you went.
yeah.
I don't disagree. I didn't get the funkiness and the taste as much as you guys did. I definitely on the nose, it's musky.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I thought the taste was good. And I don't disagree that it's a leatheriness. It's not a taste that you're like, it's not a flavor you can pick out. It's got that maybe leather is a good way to say it. Maybe it's tobacco as I described, but it's something that's not a normal taste to it in the middle. But I didn't dislike it, and I didn't get the funkiness on it. I thought it was good. It kind of to me contributes to that dryness, that strong, that I don't know, that robustness, I guess, on the finish is kind of how I look at it. It might even be a little nutty, almost my mind wants to say walnut, but that's a weird taste to just pull out of your ass.
No, no.
But I get some type of a small nuttiness maybe on the back, and something that's like not a nut that has a lot of flavor like a cashew or something, but more of a almondy, walnutty type nut. I don't know. Maybe it's I'm just concocting, but I get a little bit of that.
No, that's fine. It's okay. You
You
can
know,
be
Bo,
wrong.
you are more complex than I thought. Yeah,
Yes,
Well, I have my moments. Eddie.
he's like
I
an
have my
onion.
moments.
He's got layers.
it's like an onion. Just peel it
Got
away.
layers. It's got layers.
It takes you a while. It takes a while, man, because you got to fry through the middle because I have that effect also. So as you're peeling, you start crying and you have to stop for a minute and be like, oh my God. And then you come back and peel more and then you cry again for a while.
Yeah. I don't know how Angela does it.
my daughter looked at her today. I took a break from work. She had come home. I go downstairs before I had some late calls, whatever. And I'm down there and I don't know, I must have been being me. And Addison looks at her and she goes, I don't know how you've done it for this long. And I was like, dude, you're 19. You can't say that. I still pay all your bills.
That's right. Throw me under the bus when I stop paying for stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
How's a 10% haircut feel right now? I'm just saying.
That's it.
So, all right, let's rank the nose. 1 being it's the worst thing I've ever had. 5 being, man, this is like utopia. Par would be a 3, so that would be kind of your average whiskey. Eddie, what would you come off with the nose?
Oh, I hate to do this. I'm going to say a 2.
2. All right.
Yeah.
I thought you guys were going to go a 1. I was going to be the one who I thought was being a little conservative and go with it 2.
No, it's not.
But
yeah,
because I was going to. It's not. There's got to be something that's going to smell worse out there, right? So I hate to go to a 1. It's musty. It's but it's a 2 for me as well.
2 as well. I would go 2.5. I don't mind it. It's musty, but
it's grown on you because your reaction. You go back and watch your first reaction, and it would have been a 0.
It was low.
You were funny.
I think I rated it a 2.5, 2 or 2.5. So it's okay. It's a bogey. It's by the nose. I was like, I don't know if I'm going to appreciate this one.
Right.
Now we'll go to taste. Bo, what do you think it tastes?
Gosh, it's tough. We jumped to the top. We started high in the beginning. I'm going to go like a. Can I half it or do I have to go whole numbers?
We'll let you half it.
I'm going to 3.5. Good taste. I enjoyed it.
3.5. What do you think, Eddie?
3.
Good. It's improvement.
Yes.
So you're saying I got a chance?
It's to me it's the sweetness on the front. Because it surprises you nose it, and you think, oh, this is going to be rough, and then it hits your tongue, and it's like, oh wow, this is surprising.
And I'm going to tell you that the ABC guy in town nailed it. He goes, you either love it or you hate it. He's like,
yeah,
I haven't had too many people come in and say it's He's like, either people come in and go, that was a terrible experience, or they're like, oh, it's so good.
But you think about that though. So think about that. I think that's I don't know. We hated elements of it, right? But if you take the time to sit and enjoy it, it's hard to hate something. I mean, I'm sure there's one we could get and be like, whoa.
I have one. I'll let you try.
They don't. Well, you can get and say, well, they don't deserve to be in this business, right? They shouldn't be making this. I'm sure it's out there, but this is not one of those. So I don't think. I mean, you might hate elements of it, but it's hard to say anybody. I would have a hard time saying anybody that appreciates whiskey hates everything about this one, because I just don't know that it's that bad, right?
I totally agree with you, Bo. I think it's complex. It's surprising. It throws you for a loop. It's an experience, and I think. I mean, this is not going to disappear anytime soon. This is going to be sitting on the shelf, and and it's one of those like, hey, try this. This is different,
Yeah. Sure.
But I mean, there's certain whiskeys I have where I have a second bottle or a third bottle because I thoroughly enjoy it. I go back to it. This is not something I would go back to every week or every 2 weeks. It's different.
Yeah. All right, let's go with finish overall. Finish, I would go. I'm gonna go complete the crescendo. I'll go to 4. I think it's a birdie. I like the spice. I like the warmth. I like it kind of tingles and hangs out for a while. I enjoy the end of the back end of the actual taste, kind of leading into the finish.
Mhm.
Again, surprise. Like, I think the word surprise is just the nose surprises you all the way to the end. So I'm gonna go ahead and give it a birdie. So I went from a bogey to a par to a birdie. Boop, boop.
Oh.
What do you think, Eddie?
I'm gonna say 3.5.
3.5. like
I like the finish. I like the heat, the spice. Um, I wish it was a little more complex. I wish there was, if they somehow brought the creme brulee back on the finish, I would have probably gone to 4. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So I would say
So
3.5. Yeah.
you could have gotten a little of that sweetness instead of more of the spice.
Yes. Yeah. To me, it was more just kind of baking spice, pepper. It lingered. It stayed with you, which I enjoyed. So 3.5.
Try it again and think of sweet at the very end, kind of after the warmth
Okay.
and the spices wear out. I actually get a little of that sweetness kind of at that very last exit. It's just ends a little bit sweet and just kind of tapers off. What do you think, Bo?
I'm going to stick with my 3.5. So I'm going to go from the bogey to a nice solid finish that kind of holds itself through the rest of that drink. That's how I would describe it. I enjoyed the finish. I didn't enjoy it any more than I did the taste. But I thought it was solid. After it got to its level, it just held there. It didn't get much better, but it certainly didn't go back down.
And then overall, we got to give it a number. So basically what we said was a 2 nose, 3.5 taste, 3.5 finish.
I think you got a solid par there, man. Isn't that what that would be?
Yeah, I think so. But definitely the back end was did the work. I really enjoy it. Unlike Eddie, I will circle back to this. The musty part.
You already have, dude. Your bottle's half empty.
The musty part I've actually kind of appreciated. Like it is off-putting at first, but I know it's there now. But I know it's not gonna affect the second half of the whiskey. So I mean, I still say this is one of the better tasting whiskeys I've had in a while.
Yeah.
I mean, as a just being different, it's a much better tasting whiskey than I thought it would be.
You know, I added a little water to try to bring out the sweetness. I think they did an excellent job on the 93 proof. I don't think water helped it.
Okay.
I think where it's at, it's where it should be. Yeah. So the water did not improve it or release something different. So yeah.
I think that's a really good point, Eddie. It's funny. I put a little bit on ice just sitting here to sip on past the tasting. And I just took a sip of it a minute ago, and I was sitting there thinking about it. You described it almost perfectly. I actually get more of the mustiness from the nose in the taste after it has a little bit of ice and water in it. I get that taste. I get that mustiness comes through all the way. So I actually think it's not a good one to put on ice or water. I think you would want this one neat if you're going to do it. Maybe it's the complexity. Maybe it brings something. I don't know what it is, but it's better neat than it is on ice or water.
I've actually I've come to appreciate the mustiness. I really have. I think it's like when I first did it, I was like, oh God, not again. Like,
but yeah, I'm going to challenge you to go back and look at your first reaction. Watch your video because it was really funny watching because we were talking and you were like, oh. Whoa! It was just a face and everything was great. So yeah, that's cool that you start.
Like I said, to me, it reminds me, Eddie, of that blind barrels we did, where that nose was just
the blue cheese.
The blue cheese.
Yes,
the Lindbergh.
The blue cheese.
Oh, yeah. Wow!
It was just completely overpowering. But then, like I said, by taste and by finish, it was a really, really good whiskey. I don't think I could have ever gotten around that nose. Like that was just too much for me. This one I can get around, and actually my wife, not a big bourbon, not a big corn. She actually really enjoyed this one. She said she got butterscotch on the nose. She got the mustiness, but she said she actually pulled butterscotch as well. I was like,
there you go. Somebody
her nose is so much better than mine.
She was right there, that creamy buttery candy.
Yeah.
Maybe it was her that left the tasting note.
Yeah, it might have been. It might have been. But I think overall, I would definitely say, like I said, I think it's for the whiskey drinkers out there that have, $40-$50 in their pocket, I think it's a fun one.
Yeah.
And I think it's a fun one. You can bring it to your boys or your group and say, hey, give this.
It's a great sharer. It's a great break it out and drink it and then just sit there and let everybody talk about it. That would be a fun. Set that in the middle of your table and say, we're going to finish it, boys.
Yeah.
until we figure it out.
And I'm gonna try really, really hard not to open up any of those bottles because I'm curious if that musty rolls through the whole line or if it's just this one.
Right.
Or
Oh, yeah, that's
so like
that would be
they're
interesting.
sitting there staring at me, and I'm like, no, I can't
Yeah.
do it, not yet,
Can't do it.
not yet.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, maybe on Sunday.
yeah, maybe Sunday. To be honest,
Yeah.
it might be definitely something we can do. So overall, I think I really enjoyed Jethpa Creed, and hats off to the ABC guy in town that said, "Hey, you might be intrigued by this one." And I think like I said,
Well, hats off to Jethpa Creed for setting you up so we can try the rest
hell
of it.
yeah.
I was
love
just gonna
that.
say that. Yes, that's
And then
they're very generous.
they are. And then I had a golf lesson the other day, and they gave me a small batch Woodford.
I'll have to tell that story at some point on one of these, Brian, where I look like a pretentious ass because of that. When you showed me a bottle, I started giggling.
Yeah, no. When he handed me the bottle, I laughed thinking of you. I was like,
Yeah.
But I haven't opened that one up. I need to do that before I see them again. But yeah, it's like 120, a little hot Woodford. So I've only had entry Woodford and double oaked Woodford.
Oh,
So to me, this will be kind of a fun one because I have not tried this one yet.
Yeah.
Eddie, I'm sure has.
are you talking about this one here?
Is that the? Yeah.
Back it up. So, yeah.
Yeah, Woodford Reserve batch 121.2 proof.
Yeah. Mine's
This
like,
is the Masters collection that
Yeah.
they come out with an annual. Yeah.
yeah. So I have this year's.
Yeah.
So
It's hot.
yeah, that well, Woodford to me, even like basic Woodford to me is very hot. So I
Yeah.
think, but no, they were like, yeah, this distillery is like 5 minutes from our house. I was like,
Oh,
cool.
It's not a bad distiller to have 5 minutes from your house.
No, and he said
Jeez.
Jethpa Creed's just down the road from them too. He goes, it's a newer one. They haven't been there, and so he said every time he comes to his daughter comes to take a lesson, he's gonna bring me a present.
very nice.
I think I need to see her again next week.
I'm about to say,
Right.
you need to up your prescription on the need for her to come take lessons.
That's right. I'm seeing her about once a month now, so that's fine. I don't want to be greedy.
There you
But I don't know y'all's schedules, but I went to Birdwood today or yesterday, and we set a date for Irons and Oak, which we're moving up like a full month. So it'll be
Okay.
October 31st to
Yep.
November 2nd.
go. On the calendar. Buddy.
So I don't know y'all's schedules there, so be on the lookout for that. And then we're gonna try to do a putting thing May 30th if anyone's around. It's a Friday happy hour, and I'm
Okay.
trying to work
That one, I got a business trip on that one. Unfortunately, I looked at it today, but the October's on my calendar. You're the first in, so I'll be there.
All right, perfect.
Good to go.
And
I'm not rooming with John though. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna offer him the other bed in my room. I'm not gonna do it
no, I think
unless I can pick his
I think it'll
Halloween
be
costume.
I think it'll be kind of fun with Halloween. We might have to come up with the best dressed Friday night.
Eddie, we had a back. Well, maybe it was it on the Irons and Oaks that I did that, or was it just with us?
I can't remember.
Our group. I can't either, but I was John Zeitz. You remember John Zeitz? Eddie that was with us, our friend from college. When it came up that it was on Halloween, I said I have to be able to pick his costume, and everybody said I could. So John just said I had to bail him out if I did, though. So we'll see. We'll pick some raunchy nurse costume or something for him to.
I've got to be able to. I got to be able to sit down and eat dinner.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, I can't you can't be that mean. So Golf Cask Life magazine is coming out June 1. I'm in the process of editing and doing that. So give us a little ideas, both contributors. Bo, what are you adding to the magazine this month?
Yeah, this month gets the benefit of me taking my first trip to Australia and New Zealand for work. So found myself with a weekend to kill in Brisbane, Australia, and looked up whiskey bars and one that seems to be fairly well known. And the owner actually does a podcast similar to this, goes around the different distilleries in the Australian region. So pretty cool. But Death and Taxes in the old Queensland Mall area of Brisbane. So it's perfect. It's a quintessential dark paint, leather, It's got a library of spirit selection that they have to climb up a ladder and go get. Knowledgeable wait staff, fun bartenders. They do a lot of flaming cocktails that they kind of pour back and forth as their signature thing, and real knowledgeable about. I went in there obviously as a guy who never drank an Australian whiskey, and I said, "Hey, here's what I like from a flavor profile. What do you think?" They said, "Start here. Let me know what you think. We'll move on to the next." And you order it, watch them climb the ladder and reach back in the back and pull it out and then bring it down to you. And then they did it right from a presentation standpoint, right? So you ask for it and they pour it for you, and then they set the bottle right behind your glass, right?
Oh,
so
yeah.
then you have the bottle there for you. You can sip it, you can taste it, you can read the bottle and look at it, and just do the whole experience. And they won't come and get it until you're done with it, right? So it was a really cool thing. And went in there by myself and sat down, and there was an empty chair, and some young lady that was going to a hard Metallica, some metal concert or whatever. She sat down, not a bourbon person. She was doing more of the spirits cocktails thing, but nice to strike up a conversation with somebody you didn't know from a whole different country. And it was just a great experience. It was a lot of fun. So did a little review of that, and then 3 of the Australian whiskeys that they recommended.
Nice.
So a peated, Eddie, you'll enjoy when you read it. A nice peated was in there. So you get my first take on a strong Australian Southern Tasmanian region peated whiskey. So yeah,
I have had a peated Tasmanian whiskey, and it was phenomenal.
Of course
Yeah.
he has.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's my contribution to this month's magazine.
Yeah.
That's cool. How about you, Eddie? I got your article, but I have not read it yet.
Yeah.
Cigar guy, Eddie.
So your magazine this month, or the theme was like excellence, like yeah. So I wrote about the Padron 1926.
All right.
This to me is a just an incredible cigar. I mean, all of the Padrones are just phenomenal. This is aged 5 years. It has its own little code on the wrapper itself. It has a number. It's just it's one of those cigars. You know, you achieve something, you celebrate something, you think of Padron. That's the cigar to smoke.
All right.
I had a good closing a couple of years ago, and I decided to buy a box of Padron, and it was just phenomenal. So yes.
You gotta like good
So
closings.
all of us who want to experience the excellence now know where to come. We can come grab one from your box of Padrones.
Well, actually, there's no more left. So I actually went to the store yesterday and bought this one. so,
He's had a lot of celebrations.
Yes,
Well,
yes,
right
yes.
about something that you smoke. I mean, that's right. That's excellent enough. They're all gone.
That's awesome. How many comes in a box? I don't even have a clue.
It's usually, depending on the size, between 15 and 20.
Okay.
That's
Yeah.
what she
So,
Eh,
yeah.
I'm not editing that either.
I'm sorry. I couldn't help myself. Heck on.
But no, the theme to this month is kind of pursuing excellence.
Yeah.
The golf guys killed it. I've gone through and edited all their stuff and kind of placed it in the magazine. They did a really good job. This is right up the golf coach alley, man. They love like talking performance, and then Mike Grevelas, who's a sports psychologist professor at South Dakota, and actually at Quail Hollow right now for the PGA. He has one of his players down there. His article is really good. I mean, it can be applied to business, to life. Absolutely home run there. As for me, I find myself as a utility player. I fill in wherever there are gaps. So the golf side is completely covered. Cigar side is covered. We have Eddie, and we have Chuck. You might remember from some other episodes. He is a absolute cigar nut. So he wrote an article that I had to get him to tone it down because it was so deep and knowledgeable. I'm just like, you're blowing it. Yeah, this is too good. Like, we got to bring it back. Bring it back.
Save some for the next one.
Yeah. Like he wrote literally 7 articles in one. I'm like, we got to find 1 or 2 pieces and we're going to focus in on that. But really cool stuff there. So I'm writing on a distillery, where I'm going to kind of spotlight it. I've also spotlighted a golf course. So kind of adding a new feature inside of the magazine. Each month, I want to highlight a distillery, a pub, and a golf course. So Bo went ahead and covered the pub for me. I have the golf course, and Lorcan was supposed to do Ireland and was going to do Crawley, but he was sick when he was supposed to set up a time. So I might have to jump on a call with their distiller and do a tasting. And Crawley is one of my favorite Irishes anyways. They have to me, their Robert is actually really good. So it's a pot stilled, it's Irish single Irish malt whiskey, but it's aged in French oak. So the really cool thing, what you start to learn when you get into whiskeys, is how much that barrel influences. And French oak has a completely different taste than the American white oak. I mean, completely different, like much sweeter, just absolutely crazy tones and taste. So I think this one's a 7-year.
Look at that color. Yeah.
Pretty daggone tasty. You can actually get this in the States now. You can order directly through them and get it shipped.
Cool.
Most distilleries, they're still not kind of through the, kind of a distribution, but they do distribute straight from Donegal, Ireland, straight to you if you want that. So I'm going to hopefully get Crawley in. If not, Bo and I on Friday are going to be heading to Richmond. We're going to hit Three Crosses, Hilltop, and maybe Reservoir, as well as, what is it? McCormick
Bar.
Whiskey Bar down there. So we're going to try to hit all of that on Friday. And that way I can start to continue to complete that map. And worst case, if I can't get Crawley, one of them might be the featured distillery.
There you go.
Just because they might have timed this perfect.
There you go.
But other than that, I'll probably write another piece on some sort of whiskey experience kind of thing. But overall, like I said, the magazine, it's kind of filled itself out. I have a lot less work this time than I did last time. So that's what I appreciate.
Good.
And we do have a new golf coach that actually contributed. So that's cool. Yeah. So again, I think as we continue to grow the magazine, I think it'll be pretty cool on where this will end up. And then, like I said, I'm going to start really trying to reach out to a lot of pubs and distilleries and golf course and start setting up some trips and allow us to go partake in that for fun for the magazine, as well as, we're doing the work for the people. You all right, Eddie?
Yeah, sorry.
We're doing all the work for the people. I drink all of this whiskey for you all, not for me.
That's it.
I'm a giver.
You are a giver. You are a giver.
I'm a giver. That's just
yes, you are.
I got so many things I want to say. I got to cough. I'm trying to cough. I can't get it out. Now I'm sitting here and you're setting me up like it's crazy.
I'm a full of shitter. But no,
thank you. You helped me out. I appreciate that. I was having a choking moment. I appreciate you stepping in there for me.
So we'll go ahead and wrap this puppy up. Any closing thoughts on whiskey? Anything exciting you got going on, Eddie? Where can these people buy a house from you? I know you got one that you're still waiting to close on.
Yeah, if you ever come to Charlottesville, that's where my office is, and I'll be more than happy to help you buy a house, sell a house, whatever you want. I do property management as well. I do commercials, so if you're an investor looking for a commercial building, I can help with that. But I think my closing tonight is, you've been to my whiskey lounge, and as you know, a dear friend of my passed, and this is kind of in honor of him. And last weekend we actually blessed the whiskey lounge. We had 3 pastors that came here. I think mainly because they wanted to drink some whiskey. They had been here before, and it was just a phenomenal time. But they came back, and we had a big party. And the cool thing was, I asked my friends to bring a whiskey to share, but then leave it here. So when you come back, you have your own bottle. I have a special shelf, and I'm looking at the shelf right now. There must be 15, maybe 20 bottles of whiskey that people brought, and it's everything from Woodford Reserve to Highland Park 15-year-old to Booker's. Just a phenomenal selection, and it was just an incredible time with friends and honoring my friend and sharing stories, and it was a great time. So, you know, whiskey brings people together.
I agree.
And that's and Bo, you went to Australia. You met a total stranger. You sat there. You had a conversation. You had a connection because you were drinking whiskey or a cocktail, and it's just a phenomenal time. You know, my wife and I, we do date night every week, and we always sit at the bar because we meet people that way. It's so yeah.
Nice.
So whiskey.
I do have to tell you, Chris from over at the Whiskey Jar,
Yes.
he wrote an article this time, and
Oh, great.
he goes, "What's the title?" I said, "Pursuing Excellence." He goes, "Let me think on that," and he sent it to me. You know what his whole article was about?
Will Ritchie.
Yep.
Yep.
He said
Yep.
he has taught me to pursue excellence, and his
Yes.
entire write-up was on that. So I thought that was pretty
Yeah.
cool.
That's awesome. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Will be represented well in this coming magazine.
Good.
I might have to ask you
He
for,
did.
if you have a good picture or two that you could share of Will, ask his family if
Yeah.
that would be okay, and we'll put that in there.
Okay. Okay. All right. I will do those.
All right.
Yeah.
Bo, what do you got going on? Anything exciting in the Will?
I'm not even going to try to follow that. I think it was well said. And I think the thing I would say is absolutely there's nothing we need more than the ability to just sit, slow down, and speak to someone like a person, because that's probably missing more than anything else in this world right now.
Yeah.
So we'll leave it at that.
That was very deep, Bo. That was very deep.
Yeah. Thank you.
And closing for me, hey, find us inside of Golf Cask. Find us anywhere you can. We'd love for you to come out to our events. Like I said, in October, Halloween through the first week in November, we'll do whiskey tasting Friday night, kind of meet up, hang out, have too much to drink. Saturday, golf course, dinner, tasting. Sunday, we're going to play the Nest again this year like we did the first year. So we'll play the Fun Nest, which is kind of on a Sunday. So it's a par 3 course. So kind of a good way to go. And then I'm actually working really hard with Birdwood, or I might have to reach out to another bar. I'm going to try to bring in one or two of the distillers and let them take over the bar. So they can give us a true tasting. So I'll talk with, see where I can pull that off, because I would really like to get the members in front of the distillery guys. And again, that way you get to hear their story from their eyes and their craft. I think is kind of a better way of doing it. But if not, I'll be more than happy to guide people wherever we go. But I'm going to really try to do that. And I think we'll be able to pull that off as long as we can find a facility to do that. In worst case, we just go over to my golf course, and they have, basically I'm a member, so I'm allowed to bring any whiskey bottle I want. So worst case, we could just meet over there for a tasting and not even play golf. Not a bad way to do it either.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah, so be on the lookout for that. But other than that, June 1, be on the lookout for the magazine. Bo, Eddie, thank you as always for taking your time.
Absolutely.
And we'll do this again. So Sunday, are you guys cool with going to Bowman's in George Washington, or do you want to stay local and we can hit all the local distilleries that we still haven't plowed through those? Or
only stipulation I have is being back in my area by 6. So if we can make the math work, we can do it.
Because I think most of them open at noon. So if we left here on Sunday at like 10, we could get there right as Bowman opens, be out of there by 11. We could literally, it's an hour to George Washington. So 11, that'd be 12 to 1, 2 hours home.
Yep.
Definitely. And if we wanted to meet a little earlier, and we could do a tasting of all of the Jethpa Creed, we could pull. There's nothing better than having a tasting at 9 in the morning.
Absolutely.
That's right, with coffee.
Your palate and your nose are very clean and waiting to be awakened.
It hasn't been tainted with all the crap I've eaten all day.
That's right. That's right.
All right, gentlemen. So I will make sure all those are open and running, and I will get that itinerary out to you. So if you guys are in the Northern Virginia area and you want to come see us, we might be there Sunday.
There you go.
We just gave you the
Meet
map.
us in someplace. That's right.
So cheers, thank you, and we'll do this again.
Cheers. Yep. Thanks.
Thank you.
All right.
Take care.